Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how to take OnShape models and get them into SketchFab. And I know that some of you were a little bit disappointed because one render is going to be discontinued and there's a new rendering tool, but we don't have the potential to use that as much as we'd like to. So SketchFab should be a nice alternative, and there are actually some features in there that look like it's going to make it a better option than what we were using previously for annotations and things like that. So let's go ahead and see how we can get a table like this to look like this, where it's annotated and we can change colors and textures and things like that. Alright, the first step is you want to make sure that you have your file labeled down here. So if it just says part 1 or something like that, you want to make sure you give it a label by right-clicking and going to rename. Once you've renamed it, you can go ahead and export that. And what you want to make sure is that if there are any parts you want to give specific colors or textures to, that those are their own parts. So you have to have multiple parts in order to have multiple colors, multiple textures. So that means that your extrusions have to make sure that they include a new addition instead of adding to the existing model. Alright, so if you switch this from add to new, it'll make a new part and you'll have several parts down here. Alright, so let's go ahead and right click down on table example and we're going to export this. You want to make sure this is set to collada. By default in most cases this will be set to STL, so make sure that you have this set to collada. And it might be confusing because when you export it, it will actually say .dae, and that's normal. So you're going to do collada, and I recommend doing download and store file in new tab. This way it will actually put it in the cloud in OnShape in addition to putting it in your browser downloads. So let's go ahead and click OK here, and we'll see this will pop up right here and also down below at the bottom of your browser. So this is super simple now. If I already have an account, right? Once you're logged in, you can go ahead and go to your uploads here, and if you're having trouble, make sure you're verified. I know a lot of people sign up for this and start using it. You have to make sure you go through the verification process, and sometimes that does take a bit of time to go through. So make sure you give that a few minutes to catch up and you can continue modeling. So once you upload, you're going to click the icon there for upload, and you can simply drag the DAE file from your browser right in. There we go, we're all set. Click continue. Alright, and this will require you to add in some sort of description, and yes, this is somewhat of a social platform, so people will comment on your work and they may be able to add in maybe a like or things like that to it, so you can give it a description. Kept mine pretty brief. If you want to add categories or tags or things like that, feel free to. As for the information on the right here, you don't need to set this as a private model. You actually probably do want to share this with the world, and you are going to be embedding this on a website, so you do want to make sure this is not set to private. Everything else here should be set as normal, and then continue. Alright, so now my table comes in, and you'll notice that it did maintain the integrity of the colors that I chose. However, with the lighting and things like that, there will be some variation and distortion as compared to the previous model. You can see that the top color is a little bit different than what I had in OnShape, and most of that is because of lighting, but you can go in and modify those things inside of these 3D settings. And so once you have the 3D settings tab selected, you have all kinds of other tabs up above here that you can select to change things like lighting, materials, my favorite being annotations, where you can double click on a certain part, give it a title, and you can also give it a description, and when you export that, it will actually, when you embed that, it will actually show up in the embed. So you'll have these annotations that are in real time in 3D, and you can kind of drag the part around and it will give you descriptions of the different features that you've included. So I can put things on here about these little nubs that I've added, or I can add on information about the tabletop. So when you're working in OnShape, you know, a lot of you have the potential to use a print screen, and you can get an image here and crop it how you want, but this is fairly low resolution, not going to give the same kind of view that you're going to get here with a 360 kind of dragging. So make sure you use this to your you know, the best of your ability, and play around with these. These are all fairly new to me, so you're going to have to work with me, and we're going to learn what a lot of these tools do. I know there's a ton of stuff in here, and like, you know, in lighting and in materials that we can start to get to know. So have fun, and hopefully we can get all these models uploaded to our furniture store website very soon.